those people, made them bigger and smarter and, more intelligent. Okay? Now, during the time of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, with him receiving the revelation of Quran, his personality made the environment. So you come up with certain periods in history where the people and the situation is making the people, expand and grow. And then at the same time, you have other periods in history where there's another factor, let's call it divine revelation or good things going on, and that makes the environment. So whatever it deals with, when a person is in a leadership type of position, they want to do, hopefully, take the best method to get the best out of the people. Because see, there's certain things that really build character, but it don't happen overnight. It's things like trust. Now we use those things all the time. For instance, there's some of our writings of around 2010 and in that era. We said, well, everybody gonna have to watch everybody. I don't know if we gonna hook that type of environment up where we gonna have to watch everybody. Well, that was a trap. Just the year before that, 2009, we laid out what we were gonna use. We said we was gonna use kindness, optimism, and humor. They don't relate to each other like mistrust. Mistrust and suspicion. So the first thing some people in California said, because I had said don't mistrust, in Surah Hujurat, okay. So, when you're dealing with game playing people, you gotta get deep game, and you gotta have pre-planned game. You gotta be way out there in front of them because they're not sincere. Like many of the people that's evolving around us, they're not sincere. And you can't make them sincere. You can beg them and hug them and plead with them, but they're just not sincere. They're United States government agents, and them and a whole other. When you look at where we are and what we're doing, sometimes you might say, man, we're really on the road, because look at the things that boss man, look at the attention you get sometimes determines your value to them. And so, hey man, you'll never feel valueless around in this organization. You just won't do it. You won't feel valueless. Other people, they might have plans to make you feel valueless, but if you know what's going on, you're never going to feel valueless, because you see, number one, idiot, how much energy and time and people are you using against us, and how we dealing with it? You know what I mean? It gets serious. I'm not saying that we've done all right, but longevity has a lot to do. Longevity gives you time to learn, time to rest even, And that time to rest comes from you making your own rest periods. You know what I mean? You shaping your own downtime, not them shaping your downtime. Because like you put pressure on anybody in different games. The other team put pressure on you so you make mistakes. You know what I mean? That's what pressure do. It make you make mistakes. and you had a plan to do this, and that plan ain't working because they putting pressure on you. You know what I mean? In society, the system puts pressure on people all the time to make them do things. And in the criminal world, I showed y'all a stack of arrests I had from back then. Well, imagine the same thing if I run into the police this many times, that many times, and this happened and that happened, right? They're trying to maybe influence thinking and everything by putting pressure. But say if you went through that decades ago, and decades ago when they first run into it, it's working. Because you know, you're not a teenager, but you're a young person. And you never, when you run up on this stuff all at first, you take it like everybody else take it. You know what I mean? It destabilizes what you're doing, right? And it also makes you paranoid. And let's call it sensitive, because Bill Clinton said, just because you're paranoid don't mean they're not out to get you. In other words, what's happening to you is real. But now, once they get the ball rolling, say like once they have couple of people up on them telephone poles watching your house, then they have the PG&E truck go by. That's like a Pepco truck and all that. Well, everybody knew in those days that those, in Oakland, those were, and then people call you and say, man, the police is down past your house with binoculars, because they go by the bands, and the people, like if you're really in a community thing, like you would never be subject to like the raids they would pull over there, because the police, if they was way up there, way down there, way over anywhere, somebody gonna drive by. Oh, what are they facing? Oh man, they looking at Hank's joint. So they go to the phone and give you a call, and by the time, like that happened to us sometimes, and we'd have time to clean up. And I remember when I called the place, one of our places on 82nd, and it was my friend that was there had put everything in a big bag, and then I saw him running across the big vacant lot going to 81st Avenue, because we're on 82nd. And when I drove in the spot, it wasn't nothing upstairs, but the police took my key from me and they said, this shows that you have dominion. I don't mean to change the subject, but I'll get back to dominion. Mean one thing happened at that time. The whole vice squad was there, and they took me upstairs. We had a nice talk, and that's when they offered me the whole show. Hey, you don't have to go through this all the time. And Bojack was my biggest competitor on the other side of town. So you could just, how's your nearest competitor, Bojack? I said, we're going to play cops and robbers here. Y'all keep running around trying to put me in jail, and I'm going to try to keep getting away. I'm not getting into no team. Now, that is the same as, I don't want to be like Posey. No, that's a gift. That's not, you know what I mean? That was a gift, because other people wasn't reacting like that to the system. But that was a gift. Everybody else would have said, yeah, I help you, boss. You just leave me alone. And then boss will get you bigger and bigger. And then when it's time for you to go, he'll just send you on out the side, and off you go. But anyway, on this, speaking a word toward what is true and what have you, behavior or reaction to certain environments or realities is what builds character. And that, what came to me was a gift. Now, as you go along in life, especially with Quran and Hadith and all this history, you improve your gifts where that gets stronger. it gets stronger. But looking at the people and what happened to them, the Fleeta Drungos, the George Jacksons, and all of those type of people, which are mostly friends of mine, you know, Soledad Brothers and all people, everything that was happening out there at that time, a lot of people that had been in prison. Now in prison, the thing is, you would lose respect if you let somebody turn you out into a kind of a sissy, and if you was a tattletale, a snitch, and even then little kids come up. Like our kids here in the school, if something happened, even my kids, they wouldn't tell on nobody, the other kids, because at that time, their ethics is very high. And equality, try to give one of your kids a glass of this and a glass of that. They go, hold. Let's start here, right? What they're gonna do? They want you to, a couple of drops in there. Do they do that? They want it to be exactly, they want equality, right? You can't get no more. You can't give not in front of them. You can't just say, oh, here you go. You got a full bottle. You got to have we ain't going to have none of that. So young kids are very ethical, right? They're very ethical. Okay, where I got lucky was I kept the same ethics that we had in them little kiddie penitentiaries. They never changed. As later on, they just got better. They improved. So the general pattern is the older you get, the worse your values get. Because you wouldn't have told on nobody when you was 10 years old, but by the time you 30 or 40, they got all this time on you. You know what I mean? There's money involved. Now that's different. The people change. Personally, what I'm thankful about is that there was no change except for improvement of character. We got a book called Muslim Character. I wonder how many people can stick with that. Well, those are our goals, to stick with that type of character and to build on that. So at first, what we had to do was use all of those things that exist to our benefit. So in maybe messing with people, because they messing with us, we would say, yeah, we're going to do this, but we're not going to do that. Why? Because we done said 1 year earlier, this is our arsenal. Our arsenal is kindness. Our arsenal is humor. And those are the things that are, and optimism. Those are the things that are in our arsenal. In other words, the weapons we keep are those. Why? Because these other weapons will not work on what we're trying to do. The other thing that's very important is we face certain challenges and certain evolutions. So what are we going to use in this period of evolution? Direct truth. See, nobody uses that. You can't tell direct truth to people like, if your wife says, how do I look today? Go ahead and tell her, you don't look too good, but I'm telling you, good God Almighty. Right? So you can't say that, you look fine. Oh, that's a beautiful dress, because she bought it. If you bought it, you definitely go there. That's a nice dress there. That might be the ugliest dress in the world. Right? So no matter how friendly you are with people, you have to use a lot of public relations when you speak to people. It's just normal tactics, And the hadith allow for that. To make peace between a man and wife, right? To get a treaty signed, unity between people. It's all right to stretch the truth. Or not stretch it, but ignore it. if you're using your religious know-how, you know about how far to go with this. You see what I mean? Okay, now, if we're in a struggle and we know we've been in it, even in those days we would say we've been in this for 45 years. That means we so far in it, and we went through so many changes and improvements. See, what we have to look at, like we're analyzing, where is the world today and where are we at in this? And how is everybody performing? Well, when we look at everybody else, or not everybody, the people that we've had constant activity with, right? When we look at people we've had constant activity with, their record don't look too good. Their ethics don't even look good. If we say, how long you been praying out there in front of the Islamic Center? 35, 40 years, 30, so way up in the 30s. Years praying out there. Well, what have you done? Of course, we haven't done nothing because you can't build a community out there. Did you just stumble on that? No, because it was Iranians coming to me over on A Street, hinting that, do I think that is, actually what they're trying to do is get me to talk to the brother to say, look, we got the IAC, man. If we bring all those people out there to the IAC, we got the IAC and we got facilities. Facilities for counseling, facilities for sports. There's a whole complex out there. They own all, even in those days, they own all those houses. And those are upper middle class houses, 4 and 5 bedroom houses. And that's Potomac, Maryland. They own those houses, go right out. If you go from the basketball court and go up that street up there, you know, I remember once we was out there and they was looking out the classroom, and Brother Hussein did the Arabic classes, and there was deer with 7, 8, 10, 14 points, and they was eating some of the flowers on the trees and what have you. And he said, y'all don't know what y'all got out here. You know, in other words, there won't be any of those. Well, there's a few around here, but that's right